brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Best-selling author, Ramsey personality Jade Warshaw is my co-host today as we take your questions about your life and your money. 888-825-5225 is the number. Abdel is with us. I'm sorry. Hey, Abdel, what's up?
Yes, so I have, I need your help, Ramsey. I have 3 different types of loans. I'm just going to break it down for you. My first loan is $20,525 in credit card debt. And second one is $22,000 in student loans. And the third one is a car loan of $20,211.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 loans are equaling the same amount as my income. So my income is $63,000.
Mm-hmm.
And my question in particular is for the credit card debt. I'm about to max out my credit card, and honestly, I'm paying $1,500, $2,000 a month, and it's not getting anywhere because of the interest. And I'm just trying to weigh my options here and see should I not pay and just settle it with the creditor, or should I find another option, especially for the credit card debt?
Mm.
Is it just one card, or is it several?
Just one card.
Okay.
What do you do?
So I work in the humanitarian sector. I help refugees.
Okay. You work in the humanitarian sector and you help refugees.
Yes, but I work in the finance department.
I see. Okay. All right. How old are you?
I'm 28 years old.
Okay.
It's just you? Or you have kids,
I have a wife and a son.
Wife and a son. What's your wife make?
My wife, she came from overseas, so she only has a high school education, so she's a stay-at-home mom.
Okay. How old's the son?
He's 7 months old.
Okay. So what's been the situation in your life where you can't live on $63,000? Tell us more.
It's mainly stupid mistakes. Before I got married, I had no debt besides the student loans, and I had $20,000 in savings. And I think after I got married, especially the wedding in our country is very expensive. The wedding cost me alone $30,000. And then on top of that, diapers and gold for the wife and just I brought the credit card.
I'm sorry. Did you say gold?
Yeah, I have to buy gold. Yes, that's how you get married overseas.
Hmm. Okay.
The gold was alone like $10,000.
Okay.
So you got $40,000 that you didn't have to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And then you bought a $20,000 car you couldn't afford.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't think diapers is even on the list here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, so the answer to your question is that when we have financial problems, including when I had them, the problems are not the problem, they're the symptom. And what I'm hearing is you have a tremendous ability to, you really struggle with saying no to anyone.
That's correct.
And so you're going to have to practice that word, no. No. Mm-hmm. No. We don't have the money. No. We're not in Congress. No. I don't care what the culture says. No. I don't have the money. No. I can't do something that I don't have the money to do. No. We can't go over there. No. I don't want to do this. No. I can't be here right now because I'm having to work extra jobs because I didn't say no before.
Correct.
So now you got extra jobs coming and you're going to sell your car, and that's the way you can pay your credit card. So get rid of the car and get you a cheap car and take 3 extra jobs and work your brains out. And by the way, she can do something.
I agree.
And she needs to do something to create some income. Even with, even if it's while the baby's napping, she does something on eBay. I don't care what she does, but she needs to do something to create some income. Since we've invested $40,000 into her.
You're not wrong.
That was
Dave.
pretty cold.
That was pretty cold, but you're not wrong. That's true. That's worth talking about. Stay-at-home mom. That if that's the choice you want to make, that's true. That's fine. But there's something that you can do to earn money, and there's so many great. If you don't want to pay the full cost of daycare, there's great Mom's Day Out programs where it can give you some time back.
7-month-olds sleep a lot.
Yeah, there's time back.
Open up the computer and start doing something.
Yeah.
While they're sleeping, there's something you can do, and earn some money. And Abdel, you're going to be working more, because you need more money, and you're going to be on a really tight budget. You're not going out to eat. You're not going on vacation, and you're selling a car that you shouldn't have bought. And then you can work through this, and you can pay it. No, you don't let your credit cards go and then not pay a bill that you promised to pay when you have the ability to do it. Now, the question is, are you willing to do those things? And that's going to be the $900 answer. That's so interesting to me. I mean, I come from the hillbilly culture, which the noble hillbillies, by the way, which at no point in that culture would anyone have ever paid $10,000 for the opportunity to marry someone. You might have gotten paid $10,000 to get someone out of their house, but you wouldn't have paid for it. So it's so foreign to me. It's so, no pun intended. But I mean, it's obvious it's something that's a big deal in his culture. I'm not
100%.
Not disrespecting that, but I just can't get my head around it because it's not where I come from.
That's right. Yeah, it's a lot of money. That's
$10,000,
$30,000 wedding.
So you're looking at a broke guy who's going to bring your daughter to America and be his wife, and the culture says you have to give $10,000 in gold. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Well, part of it is, it just goes to show that culturally, no matter what culture, there's things that if you really put some thought into it, you can say, well, that's a little bit backwards, right? Like, we've got that in our culture. We talk about it every day.
Yep.
Our culture says, hey, if you need something, go into debt to get it. You want an education, get a student loan. You want a car, get a car note. And it takes a moment to, like you said, you have to look at that and go, does that really make sense for me or really for anybody? And it's a head scratcher. And then you say, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. I'm not going to be normal.
I'm not going to be normal. But this is a cautionary tale, I think, of how, what seems like a small amount of debt, in quotes, $20,000. I can handle that. And then you do another $20,000. I can handle that in a car loan. And then $20,000 in student loans. That's not that bad. Yeah. And then before you know it, like you said, it's the exact amount of your income.
It's scary to me how fast he went from having some money and no debt all the way to having no money and a bunch of debt. Mm-hmm. And it all centered around not saying no to something.
Yeah.
Or not questioning the protocols
that's right.
that are put in front of you. And I don't know that you can. I'm not sure how this goes.
That's true.
I really don't know what he's facing on that because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But it still has to do with no, can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can afford what you can afford.
Yeah, don't have the money. I guess I now know. This is the Ramsey Show. Statistics show that half of Americans don't have enough life insurance, or they don't have any at all. I don't understand this, John. Why don't people want to take care of their family? They think they're going to die or something?
Well, I used to be one of those guys. I didn't even think about it. And one of my buddies said, hey, the only reason to not have life insurance is if you hate your wife and kids. And I immediately went and got term life insurance.
That's a gut punch.
And, you're telling me, and for decades, Dave, I've sat across people who've lost a spouse they've lost somebody important to them.
Me
and
too.
They don't know what to do next.
Me
right?
too. I mean, you're going to have a crisis here. And, you got two options while you're sitting and talking to a young widow. She's concerned about how she's going to invest all this money properly and not mess this up, or she's concerned how she's going to eat tomorrow.
That's exactly
These are the
right.
two options.
And
take care of your dadgum family, man.
Term life insurance can replace income, pay off debts, cover funeral expenses, so your family can actually have the opportunity to just be sad.
Yeah.
To just miss you.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's saying I love you to your family. Term life insurance. Jeff Zander and the team at Zander Insurance makes it easy and affordable. I've used them personally for 25 years. They're the only people I trust. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Dave is with us, and Dave is in Orlando. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Dave. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Hi, so my wife and I, so we are foster parents, and we were taking care of a baby pretty much from a newborn until about 8 months. The mom did great. She got her kids back after she went through some struggles. Long story short, her case has been closed. She has all her kids back, and she is struggling again. So with pretty much all aspects of life, but financially, she made some poor decisions with a car, ended up breaking down, and she had to junk it, and she contacted us just for some help financially. We haven't helped her with money before, but obviously we love, her son very much. We want her to succeed. We know that giving her money is not a long-term solution to anything. So we're really just trying to think about the best way to approach her, talk to her about what's going on, how her finances are, how she can get assistance, build a budget, et cetera. And she's a very, very shy, closed-off type person, so we don't want to scare her off, but obviously still wanting to help her. We're just looking for the best way to maybe approach that.
Well, I mean, all you can do that's reasonable is to coach her, and the only way you can coach her is to the extent she'll accept the coaching, right?
Right.
And
and I talked to her yesterday, and she, I asked her if she would be open to having a financial conversation. My wife and I are in, good shape. We're very stable, and if she said she was open to having that conversation, she said she doesn't really understand debt and just finances in general. And on top of that, I mean, she has 3 kids now. She's not working, has a baby who's now a year, and her other 2 kids are 9 and 10, and she just has absolutely no idea what to do. She can't get daycare for her baby because in order to get assistance through the state, she has to have 2 paychecks before they'll provide daycare assistance. So she is just going crazy, and we feel like she's close to getting back to a point where she may make some poor decisions or drugs or something like that. And yeah.
Well, obviously the financial situation is, again, the symptom of all the things that have gone on in her life, okay? And but maybe you can coach some of the things in her life by using the financial door to go through. Having dealt with this a bunch of times over the years, the warning I would give you is I would tell you to be very, very clear up front, because when you said financial conversation, you meant coaching. She might have heard money. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a conversation about how much money you're going to give me. Yes, I'll be happy to have that conversation. It's very clear to her that you're not going to give her money, because you're not. Because this is a messed up, toxic situation. If you start that, then she may cut you loose. So you need to be ready for that emotionally. Okay, and so I think what I would offer if I were in this situation with your wife present, I would just say in person over a cup of coffee. Look, we love the little boy, and that means that we would love to help you. And our help to you would be that as your older brother and older sister here that are successful in a lot of areas of life that you're not yet, we can show you a better path in a bunch of these areas. And help her get plugged into a good church. They can help her with the daycare get started. Let someone do that. But if she starts to see this baby as a ticket to get money out of you, this is going to get really ugly fast.
Right. Yeah. And so she did move 2 hours away from us when the case was finally closed. I guess that was about a month ago. And we did at that time give her $200 to help moving expenses and get a truck to go down there. So I'm hoping that she doesn't think that door is already open, and
she does.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
She does. You're just, the trick is, can you make a trip down there, sit down, be very clear. We love you. Because we love this baby, we want to coach you and help you. But it's going to be, we're going to show you how to get on your feet, not we're going to give you money to get on your feet. And she may give you the middle finger. It's a better than a 50% probability, based on my experience. But if she may have been just it's sad, but sometimes folk in these situations will use a baby as a method of manipulation.
Well, that's the thing I would probably caution against with David, just to be really careful, because obviously they love this little boy, and so there's probably a part in them that wants to try to control the situation, because in their minds, like, we have the means, like, we understand money, we understand how to take care of this kid. And so I think that they have to really guard their hearts in this situation, because, like you said,
yeah, it's so sad.
Yeah.
But I think what she's got to have is she's got to have some mentors and some people in her life. That's why I said plug her into a good church. Let's get her started walking on a character path, and then let her get, because obviously, based on what you said, she's been struggling with that, and you're afraid she's going to fall back off of that. And when she gets that character thing straightened out, then you can show her the mechanics of the money piece. But she's going to have to go to work, and she's got to feed 3 kids, and we're going to have to figure out a way to cause her to be able to do that with some community support. And that community will help her if she's heading in the right way. And you can probably line that up. And I think you're a wonderful person for investing into this, but just be very careful that you're not being manipulated, because that sometimes is the only skill someone has. And they're very skillful in some cases. I'm not saying that's true about her 100%, but it's just something I would personally be careful with if I was walking into this. I'd want my eyes wide open. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Royce is in Dallas, Texas. Hi, Royce. How are you?
Good. How are you, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I am a finance, or I guess you say graduate finance student. I'm getting my MBA, my undergrad in finance.
Cool.
And so you know how all of them are.
Yep, I do.
They teach you to go out and leverage and so on and so forth, okay?
Yep.
The financial situation that I'm in is I'm completely debt-free. I have $100,000-ish something dollars of invested money in Morgan Stanley, and then I have some other stuff through some 401ks. I have $30 or $30,000 in on-hand cash, and I have an opportunity to buy a $50,000 house. Would you leverage some part of it? The renovations, would you buy it all cash? Because my whole thought pattern is, if I leave that money working and do parts of it, so like finance 25, cash 25, cash on the restoration, it allows some of my money to still be working.
Yeah. Well, back when you had common sense before you got your MBA, you would have never done that.
Right. And so I agree with you on that partly. Then, so my thing is so. Do you think that there's ever situations where that would come in? Because I know the situation you got in, right?
No, I do not. Okay. I do not borrow money, and I do not tell people to borrow money, especially for investment real estate. Pay cash for it or don't do it, because the risk, you increase your risk, and what they don't teach you in the MBA program is to mathematically factor in the risk. They act like with the formulas they teach you, the formulas that I learned, the same ones in getting a finance degree, are fairly simplistic in that they do not address the risk issue. And the more you borrow, the more risk you have. We know that.
Okay.
And nowhere in anything you learned in that MBA program does it decrease the returns based on increased risk because of debt. There's not a formula that they have in that program that shows you that. And yet that is reality. So every time you borrow money, you increase risk. The more money you borrow, the more risk. The less money you borrow, the less risk. And risk does affect return over the scope of time. And so don't do it. Don't do it. The borrower is slave to the lender. God is smarter than your MBA professor. This is The Ramsey Show. You know, it doesn't take a degree in statistics to realize that this one stinks. 93% of undergraduate private student loans are co-signed. So when you're delinquent and drowning in private student loan debt, mom or dad or Uncle Joe is stuck in that financial stress along with you. But there is a way out. Why Refi? Why Refi offers a custom refinancing option with a fixed rate loan based on your ability to pay. And the average interest rate Why Refi offers is 3.9%, which can significantly reduce your monthly payment and decrease your total cost. Why Refi refinances your defaulted private student loans that other places won't touch. And I trust them to help you get out of debt. So don't be another statistic in the student loan swamp. Contact Why Refi at 844-2-RAMSEY or go to whyrefi.com/Ramsey. That's 844-2-RAMSEY or the letter Y, then REFY.com/Ramsey. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personalities, my co-host. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Open phones here on The Ramsey Show. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Emily is in Washington, D.C. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for taking my call today.
Sure. What's up?
We just have a quick question. My husband and I are wondering if we are being selfish with a family financial decision that we're making. And I'm going to preface it by saying that we are in total agreement on this, and he would be the one to have a conversation with his family. So the overall situation is that he has many siblings, and we try to get together and go on vacations or just have family gatherings fairly often. However, his youngest sister does have a very different financial situation than the rest of us have. So we've covered her expenses anytime we get together, and particularly going on vacation. Usually not a big deal. It's just a few $100 extra bucks. However, there has kind of been an expectation to pay, and there is conversation around going overseas to where they are from originally, where the family is from originally, for a bigger trip in 2025, which would, if we covered her expenses, it would cost us thousands of dollars. That's just not in our budget. It's not something we can do. It would already be kind of at the top of our budget to begin with. But in kind of expressing this decision, not being able to cover her husband, and her 5 kids, it's really ripping apart our family because we're being told we're being selfish by not helping her out. And
Wait,
also,
sorry, it's her husband and her 5 kids?
And
yes.
And who's telling you you're selfish?
The other siblings and her.
How much of it were they covering?
We've always kind of split things fairly equally, and so if we split it 3 ways, it would still be a few $1,000s for all of us.
Can I ask why? Can I ask why? What's the situation that everybody is floating them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So some of it, I would say it's lifestyle choices, just in the fact that they live in a small town. Her husband doesn't have a big income, and then she's chosen to stay home and homeschool the kids, have a bigger family.
The more you tell me, the more I'm laughing internally. Like, the more you tell me about this, the more I'm realizing how ridiculous this expectation is. And there's no obligation. Anything that you've done before, you kind of did set up maybe an expectation, but you did that out of the kindness of your heart, as it sounds like the other siblings did. But just because someone is kind and decide that they want to give one time doesn't mean that they're obligated to give every time and at the whatever limit that other person decides. Right? If I were you, I would have when I tell you I would lose zero sleep over saying, I'm not going to fund this. It's too expensive, period. And you don't have to give a bunch of reasons. Just, hey, it was fun for us to be able to do that before. With this trip, we're not going to be able to help out. And by the way, probably going forward, we've decided that the faucet has turned off at this point.
Especially with the way you folk have reacted, yeah.
Yeah, no gratefulness.
Yeah, gratitude turned into entitlement, and so the issue is this: what you're discovering, and it's sad. And I've run into this. Everybody's run into this. Henry Cloud talks about this in his classic book Boundaries. That when someone doesn't respect your boundaries, it means they feel entitled to walk in your yard, to take your money, they feel entitled to your money. And then when you set a boundary with a boundaryless person, roughly 100% of the time it pisses them off. Almost every time, right? And so once you say you can't play in the yard, it's my yard, and you can't come over here. There's a fence here. You should stay on your side of the fence. You know, that's a boundary, in other words. Then the people who have gotten used to treating your yard like it's their yard, and they go, but we like playing in your yard. And so, no, you can't play in my checkbook anymore. There's not room for both of us. And so I'm going to declare it mine, and I'm going to close the gate. The gate was open, and now the gate's closed. And since you're bitching about it, I'm going to leave the gate closed forever. That kind of goes there too. So that's the way. I mean, and as far as the other siblings whining about it, it falls under the category of none ya. None ya business.
Go kick rocks. Exactly. And here's the thing. I thought you were going to lay out some hardship or something that was kind of outside the box, but truly it's choices. Yeah,
choices. And so you chose not to be able to afford to go on this international vacation with your 5 children. Which, by the way, most people, I never even saw the ocean until I was a teenager. So, I mean, I grew up in Tennessee. So, I mean, come on. I mean, it's like that's what people that don't have money do, So it's you don't get to do stuff that people with money get to do. It's how that works. And so, gosh, I'm sorry though. I'm sorry it's bringing a pain to y'all. And I wish I had something other than smart aleck things to say that would actually make this go away. Because it won't go away. And so you're just going to have to smile and say, gosh, I'm so sorry y'all feel that way. I love y'all, but this is our decision. And you don't have to, I would not justify it. I wouldn't talk about the decisions that they need to make different. I wouldn't talk about enabling. I wouldn't talk about entitlement or boundaries. I would just say, this is our decision. We love y'all. And gosh, I hope you don't permanently cut us off, but if you do, then that's what you'll have to do. And gosh, I sure hope not. But we love y'all. And no.
The good news is you and your spouse are on the same page about
this. That's the only way. And you already prefaced it with he's going to handle his own family. Bless his heart. So, yeah. It's a thing, man. It's a thing. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I've
had some of these conversations. I mean, when we went broke and lost everything, so Sharon has 5 brothers and sisters, and there's 13 grandkids. Okay. Of which Daniel is the youngest. Okay, so Rachel's one of the youngest, in other words. And so that family, they've all done very well, and they're wonderful people. And everybody gave everybody something at Christmas. Well, I completely screwed that up because I went broke, and I didn't have the money to give everybody something. Right? And so we were there at Thanksgiving, and they're talking about Christmas, and I said, guys, I'm sorry, I got bad news. we just can't do that. We just went bankrupt. We don't have any money, and so we're going to have to draw names. And my suggestion also is the children under 12 get gifts from other people, but everybody else is treated as an adult and gets one gift from another adult, and we all just draw names. And no, to their credit, I'm bragging on my wife's family. They all said, that's a really good idea, because I think this other one sucked. It was getting out of control. And I'm glad you brought it up. But I was kind of, Sharon's like, they're not going to like that. And I said, I know, they're generous, sweet people. They're not going to like it, but we don't have any money.
Oh, man.
So we can't play anymore. We don't have we can't pay the ticket to play in this.
Yeah.
We can't get into this place anymore. We can't pay the ticket. And so this is the only thing we can do. And so we love y'all, but and they were all like, well, thank God somebody else said it, you know? And so that family, that was 30 years ago. We've drawn names ever since, for 30 years now.
That's great.
But so sometimes it's a good result, but it wasn't someone that felt entitled.
That's right.
In that conversation. Instead, we're mature, good, solid people who respected the pain that we were in at the time and how embarrassing it was for us to have to say that out loud and all of that. I mean, can you imagine sitting at your in-laws' Thanksgiving dinner and announcing?
I have been there, and my story didn't go as well, Dave.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
You know?
You caused trouble with the in-laws, did you, Jade?
I said maybe we give names.
Sam?
Maybe we draw names.
I didn't know she was that way. I wouldn't have known it.
All right, you know.
There you go.
Well, here's the thing. We're still drawing names to this day, so.
Oh, even though.
There was some kicking and screaming to begin with, but.
It's okay. It's a good thing.
It's all good now.
It's a good thing.
Well, you know how I feel. Adults don't need to buy other adults gifts.
I heard Rachel and George talking about you the other day on their show, saying that. I like that. So there we go.
Get your own blender.
I learned to get your own blender, Aunt Gertie. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, it's Rachel Cruz here to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, choose the healthcare provider you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And Step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members take care of your eligible medical bills. With no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. Find out more at chministries.org/budget.
Well, the Ramsey cash giveaway is here. Look at this. That's $3,000 right there.
Ooh. It's a lot
I did
of
this
money.
yesterday, and Dr. John Deloney thought he was getting a bonus.
When I saw it there, I wondered if it was for me as well, but it's not.
It's not for you. It's for some lucky person. We're going to give away $500 a week and the grand prize of $3,000. How would you spend $3,000 if you wanted? I hope you'd work your baby steps. Mm-hmm. You might just have to buy some groceries. It could happen that way. These days, it wouldn't last that long at the grocery store. But anyway, hey, it takes 15 seconds to enter the Ramsey Cash giveaway. It's completely free. You can enter every day to increase your chances to win at RamseySolutions.com/giveaway. No purchase is necessary. You got to be 18. That's the law and stuff. So for a limited time, you can get 20% off on our store on all of our bestsellers, like Dr. John Deloney's latest bestseller, Building a Non-Anxious Life, on sale for the very first time. The Questions for Human conversation cards are on sale. My number one bestseller, the latest one, is the Baby Steps Millionaires book, which includes the white paper in the back, all the study, the research done on the millionaires, the real millionaires in there. So pretty cool stuff. All of that's on sale. So whether you're ready to kick debt to the curb or you want to live a less anxious life, check it out. You can get 20% off and shop the sale at RamseySolutions.com/store. Joshua's in San Antonio, Texas. Hi, Joshua. How are you?
Hey, Dave. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So my wife and I, a few months back, were presented an offer or deal from my parents to buy their house from them. So through them and not a mortgage company. So pretty much like a rent-to-own. We had about $60,000 in debt. So we decided to sell our first home and take their deal. So we used that money to pay off about $30,000 in debt, the equity from our the sale of the house. So my question is after we pay off a little bit more debt, which we have about $30,000 left, is it smart for us to continue to pay the house through my parents or get a mortgage loan?
So you simply just took over the payment. There was no paperwork?
There's no payment. The house is paid for, and you're paying them payments.
No, so my parents have a mortgage, and we've agreed on a price to buy the house. The house, the price that they're selling it to us, quote unquote, is below market value. They're selling it to us at the county appraised.
Which is what?
$340,000, and market value is like $380,000.
And what do you guys make?
Right now, I make about $75,000 a year. My wife is with my two kids.
Okay.
And we did have a house we were paying. That one was about $240,000. We outgrew that house. That's why this house was a bigger house for us, and we just outgrew it.
Yeah.
With
So your take home pay is what?
About $72,000.
Oh, that's your take home pay, $72,000.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so we're dealing with like $6,000 a month, and your payment on this mortgage is how much?
$2,000.
$2,000. That's a lot.
It is a lot, and we went from $13,000 at our.
You went from being able to afford your mortgage to not being able to afford your mortgage. Is what you did.
Yeah, we did get to pay off, like you said, $30,000.
Yeah, but you still have $30,000 in debt left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And and you gave your parents $30,000 already?
No, we have not paid them.
That paid off your other debt. That paid off the other $30,000 of debt you had.
Yes, that paid off $30,000 in debt. Yes.
I thought you got $60,000 out of the house when you sold it.
No, we got $30,000 out of the house when we sold it. I had $60,000 in debt.
Oh, okay. So you got no money now.
I have a little bit in my savings, and then what we have, what I make, obviously. But
what's in your savings? How much savings do you have?
Right now, we have $3,000 in savings.
Okay. So $3,000 in savings. You've got a mortgage that you're paying.
It's
That's
not
a
his
third
mortgage.
of your take home.
Dude, you guys have made such a big mess, I don't even know where to start. This is a disaster. Here's the problem, okay? You're a renter. You do not own the house, and you're not on the mortgage. And you do not have the money to purchase the house, because the purchase of the house to get a mortgage will require a down payment. Mortgage companies don't just give 100% loans. And so you don't have the money to purchase the house, and you can't put the house in your name with that other mortgage on there, because that mortgage has what's called a due on sale clause in it, that if they transfer the title to your name at the courthouse, the mortgage company is going to call that mortgage due in full and foreclose on your butt. And so you guys have made a huge mess because you didn't know what the flip you were doing. All of you just thought you could just slop around and this would work out just because you wanted a bigger house. This is awful. So I think the only way that I can see out of this is for you guys to take 6 jobs and quickly put together some money for a down payment. How much is the balance on the mortgage?
$90,000.
Okay. And you're buying the house for $300,000.
Yes, they're selling it to us.
That's the agreed amount. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you're going to have to sit with a mortgage company and figure out how you can either your parents gift you another $30,000 out of this remaining equity, and they show that as a down payment on this house, and you get a mortgage and get the house into your name, for God's sakes. Because if your parents have some kind of a problem that even they didn't mean to have, they are in a car wreck and get sued for $500,000, and the insurance doesn't cover it, the $500,000 lien will be against this house because it's in their name. It's not in your name. So everything that they do ends up on this house because it's in their name, not in your name. So every day that you sit there acting like this is your house when it's not your house, you are in dire risk. And so that's why this is such a bad deal.
Well, my question is, why can't you just agree to be renters? Why do we need to jump the gun to buy it? Why not say, okay, because there's nothing that points to any form of ownership. The parents own the house. They're on the mortgage. They're on the title. So
you can just sit there and be a renter.
Just be a renter.
You can do that.
Get in a better position to where you can buy.
Except you went and rented a house you can't afford.
Yeah, they did.
You went and rented. I mean, it's
yeah.
Well,
they might.
How do you have a $2,000 payment? Is that what he said?
He said $2,000.
On 90 grand.
On 90,000. So they're making profit off of them. They're not. It's.
Yeah. Okay. So this is, this was a bad plan, top to bottom. And I'm not real sure how you're going to get out of it other than quickly to come up with a down payment and try to qualify for the mortgage and get the house and the mortgage into your name. That's the only thing I can come up with. The sooner you do that, the better off you're going to be, because in the meantime, you're just paying off somebody else's mortgage. Mm-hmm. You went from being a homeowner to being a renter. And if something happens with one of them and there ends up with liens on this property, you're never going to get the property. And believe me, in 35 years of doing what I do, I run into that a lot, because people who do bad deals have a tendency to do other bad deals.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point.
Bad deal meaning don't know what the flip you guys were doing. You just wandered backward into this and thought you could pull this off. And so, you really need to sit down and start talking about how you can get a mortgage, how quickly you can save up the down payment to do that. And if you can get any credit from the equity reduction, from the price reduction towards a down payment, as far as the way the mortgage company looks at it. In other words, if they're willing to sell it to you for $340, do we instead show it at $360 and the mortgage company shows that $20,000 as a gift from your parents? There's a possibility they can do that. So I would look into that. But this is a classic case of I want a bigger house, I can't afford it, and I did it anyway. And that's what you got yourself into, Joshua. I'm sorry. Wow. I hope you get out of this with your skin. This is The Ramsey Show. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Marcus starts this hour in Los Angeles. Hey, Marcus, how are you?
Hi, you too. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. What's up?
Yeah, I'm budgeting for a wedding. We're in the final steps. I talked to my dad at the biggest perk. He asked me what would Dave say. So we talked through that, but then I wanted to ask you and see what would Dave say.
Okay. You said your dad's what?
He sanity checks my ideas. So he asked me what would Dave advise in this case.
That's neat that you guys have that kind of relationship. Pretty cool. Okay. And so how much is the wedding going to be?
So the wedding's going to be $80,000. This is everything: dresses, venue, housing, and then we're getting family support for $30,000. So out of our pocket, it's $50,000.
And what do you guys make?
Combined, it's roughly $340K a year.
Okay. All right. And you have the cash.
We have the cash. We don't own a home yet, so it's this decision delays buying a home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you both looked at each other and said that out loud.
Yes.
And that's a trade-off you're both willing to make.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I look at these things in ratios. To start with, when I hear an $80,000 wedding, the first thing I do is pass out, and I have to wake up. But after that, then I say, okay, I'm really happy to hear your numbers are as good as they are. So the average wedding in America today is $34,000 annually. I mean, $34,000. And the average household income is about double that. And so if we say the average person in America spends half of their annual income on a wedding when they get married, then you're not spending that. You're not spending half your annual income, right? So, but it probably would change. Like if the average person spends 10% of their, I'll just make up a number, 10% of their income on food. When you make $500,000, you don't really want to spend 10% of your income on food because you'll be big as a house, right? And so that wouldn't work. So somewhere these ratios start to break down, but like now possibly. But you can afford to do this. You're paying cash to do this. It is not an unreasonable ratio as a percentage of your income, and then you're willing to look at each other and say, we're willing to spend, on this one day and delay our house. That doesn't sound right when you say that out loud, but it's not the end of the world. If you want to do it, you can afford it. So,
how long would it delay? Because you do have a good income. I'm imagining there's maybe some money saved in addition to this. So how far does it set you back?
So I don't have a great answer on how far it sets us back. We're not in the immediate house hunting stage. Step one is to get married.
Of course.
So it's unclear to me exactly how much it sets us back. I would guess it's setting us back by 4 months to 6 months.
That's nothing.
No, it's more than that. But how old are you two?
I'm 30. She's 29.
Okay.
You're living in Los Angeles. So, and by the way, when I asked that question, I would say before, I would not buy a house in the first year of marriage anyway. So I wasn't intending to rush you. I just wanted to know, what your sights are set on as far as that's concerned. This
is doable. It's not insane. The fact that it causes you to gulp a little bit makes you want to stop and go, okay, what's my motivator? Why is it that I can do this? Mm-hmm. Like I've got a friend that makes $10 million a year. His daughter got married. They spent $100,000 on the wedding. Whoopee. Okay, no big deal, right? But it's still shocking to those of us, that are like regular people. And so, and that's kind of what your situation is. You're spending a shocking amount of money on a wedding, but it's not mathematically insane. Does that make sense?
Does this include the honeymoon trip as well? The trip?
It does not include the honeymoon with points from credit cards, which we should get rid of. I don't think we'll end up paying much for it.
Sorry, I revealed the skeletons in the closet. Sorry about that.
The truth serum came out.
Yeah.
I think if I were you two, I would just want to look at each other and say, why we are spending 3 times the national average on our wedding. Why? And if you can answer that question looking at each other and not say, because I'm an immature princess and I just want it and I'm going to stomp my foot and have a red face, which I'm not accusing you of, then if you can answer that question logically and go, hey, it's something I've always wanted to do. We like a big party with family and friends, which is actually what my friend said. that spent a bunch of money on his kid's wedding. He's like, our family likes to party. We like to celebrate big milestones. This is a fun thing, and that's why I work, and I've got the money. Shut up. And,
that's great.
It's a valid answer. If it wasn't coming from some kind of entitlement or weird stuff or something. So as long as you got all that stuff covered, your math is not insane. It's 3 times what most people do, but you make more than 3 times what most people do. So you can afford to do it. That's the idea.
That's the answer.
And Jade, that's a good segue almost into a lot of answers to questions.
Yes.
It's sometimes in the neighborhood I grew up in, people would say stuff like, "No one needs a car that nice." You ever heard people say stuff like that?
Of course. oh my Lord,
it's there's anything older, anything better than a 1993 Accord is not Christian. We know that. Nobody ought to spend that. There's starving children in the world.
That is called haterade.
That's exactly
sipping on that haterade.
And it's bitterness and it's envy. Mm-hmm. And so I had to kind of work through that once I started knowing wealthy people who were good people. And they had nice stuff. And I'm like, okay, like another buddy of mine made $17 million, and he drove up in a $480,000 Lamborghini.
I need to be friends with these people.
It's like sweet, And but if you do the ratios, so take a zero off, it's 107 or 1.7 million, and you buy a $48,000 car. Or take another zero off. Mm-hmm. You make $170,000. And you bought a $4,800 car.
It's nothing.
It's the same ratio. So, of course, he should buy that car. It's nothing. It's like you and me buying a biscuit. This is The Ramsey Show. Your home is probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make. And with the real estate market like it is now, you'll need a mortgage company you can trust. That's Churchill Mortgage. You guys, buying a home is not a button push. It's a process. It takes building a relationship with an expert who will dig into the details and give you peace of mind without busting your budget. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country. And they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Go to ChurchillMortgage.com to get started. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. We're so glad you're with us. Hey, guys, the private student loan refinance is available. If you've got private student loans, you can refinance them with Refi. Now, if you don't know about these guys, we've been advertising with them for a while, and I just started hearing, and there's all this chatter again. It comes and goes about the government forgiveness of student loans, and it just never really happens. And you still sit there with your student loans. And, of course, government forgiveness is all about federal insured student loans. It's not about private student loans anyway. So the average interest rates with Refi, it's the letter Y, R-E-F-Y. The average interest rate, if you've got a private student loan with them, and you refinance it with them, is 3.9%. So a lot of you have got private student loans and you're getting hammered with these guys. So don't do it. Go to yrefy.com/Ramsey. yrefy.com/Ramsey. And Jay, that makes a huge difference when you can get that lined up.
Oh, 100%. Because those private student loans, they can get in the double digits.
And if you're behind,
interest.
they can even take that loan over, reset it, and get you going fresh.
Oh, that's excellent.
And it quits destroying your credit. So it's a big deal. Ed's with us in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Hi, Ed. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. How you doing, sir?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Yeah, our church is growing, and we're being blessed, and they're wanting to build a bigger sanctuary. And being a financial peace graduate, they're this sounded a little off to me, but they want to do 1/3 in cash, 1/3 in pledge, and 1/3 in loan, which will really work out to be 2/3 loan until the pledges come in initially. So using debt to grow a church is the question.
Okay. Well, to start with, let's be very clear that this is not a salvation issue or a issue of blasphemous or something like that. Okay?
Correct.
I've got friends all through the church world that borrow money in their churches, and they're still friends of mine. They know I don't agree with them, but they're still friends of mine, just like I have friends that borrow money to buy a car. They're still friends of mine, okay? So it's not that kind of a thing. But my question, I would want to make two major points in this. Three. Number one, I don't think you're going to stop them. I don't think I'm going to stop them because I don't think they care what we think. Okay, so they're probably going to do this. It's probably not going to stop. But conceptually, or if we wanted to discuss it as if we could discuss it, first thing I would say is I can find, and I've studied it for 40 years, I can find nowhere in Scripture that there's one single positive reference to debt. Every time the Bible mentions debt, it is a negative connotation. Again, it's not blasphemy. It is not a sin. It is not at that level. But there's all kind. The borrower is slave to the lender. There's a lot of mentions of fool around the word debt. And it's a curse when Moses is not able to take the children of Israel into the promised land. Joshua instead does. God says, here are the blessings and here are the curses. And the blessings, if God is blessing you, you will be a lender to other nations, a giver to other nations. If not, you'll be a borrower. It's one of the curses. And so it's a curse. And it's all those kinds of negative things mentioned because you're doing something you don't have the money to do. It's pretty simple. The other thing then is, how does that play out when we escape the scriptural, or when we sidestep the scriptural discussion of this? Because you really can't find it in there. Larry Burkett used to say there's no place in Deuteronomy where, the Israelites were hemmed in the valley by the Amalekites, and the Amalekites are getting ready to kill them, so they did a bond issue. And they beat their way out with pledges. It's just not in the Bible anywhere. God has never, in His Word, He has never used debt to cause His kingdom to expand. It's never once in there. As if your church is the only place that someone can meet Jesus, and if we don't build this sanctuary, they're going to go to hell. That's absolute arrogance. Okay? Absolute arrogance. It's not in the Scripture. Now, aside from that, the other problem you get is that, before I leave that, Larry Burkett also used to say, and I've experienced this personally, that what happens is a lot of the men, sometimes the women, in the church that are successful in business are appointed to the elder board, the deacon board. And so it's not unusual for your governing body inside of a church to look like the Chamber of Commerce. It's a banker, a car dealer, an insurance agent, whatever. And so they then start to run the business of the church the way they run their business in the world. Rather than using Scripture to make the decisions, they use their MBA to make the decisions. And that's a theological breakdown right there, a doctrinal breakdown. You shouldn't run a church the way you run a business. There ought to be some overlay. There ought to be some leadership skills, that kind of stuff that there is an overlay on. But operationally and the financial principles are not the same because it's a different calling. So now back to the other. Okay, so that's all under the heading of it's simply not scriptural. You can't find it in the Bible. Now, the second thing is, how does that play out in the real world? Well, 50,000 churches in America have now taught Financial Peace University. So you might guess that I've had this discussion before. You might even further guess that we've got an amazing amount of data of what happens. The amount of times that a pastor is no longer the pastor 36 months after the building project and capital campaign, it's like 85%.
Wow.
85% of the time, the pastor is gone within 3 years after a major capital campaign and building campaign for one reason or another. And we can't necessarily tie it exactly to
That's
that.
Shocking.
But they just, it puts a strain. What you're doing is you're putting an entire strain on the entire organism called your church. And part of that is the head of the church or the leader of the church, the pastor. And it's a big deal. Where I've, on the other hand, have had the wonderful experience of being around churches where they went the other way. The church I attend merged with a local church and took on, at that time, $7.5 million worth of debt that the church they merged with already had. And our pastor said, we're going to pay it off in 14 months. And they did. Raised money to do that instead of building buildings. So and they're doing a $40 million project right now, and they raised 100% of the capital, zero debt. Not going to go back in debt. Not because I go there, but I might go there because of that, and might have something to do with it.
So take it a step further. So this is Ed's church. So if the church goes ahead and does this, a third pledge, a third cash, a third loan, if you're attending that church and you're listening and you go, man, I agree with what Dave said, what do you participate as a person who's attending the church? Do you say, yeah, I'll pledge, I'll pray about it and I'll do whatever God lays on my heart? Or are you, Dave, or you're like, I'm not contributing to that?
Well, there's two types of giving that we do, tithes and offerings. Mm-hmm. The tithe is a tenth of your income going to your local church. That's not a negotiable for me.
Right.
If I have to not tithe because I don't believe in the church, it's time for me to leave the church. I got to go to a different one. Okay, and I would not leave a church over this.
No, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't either.
But usually these pledges are obviously above and beyond.
I'm not going to donate to the campaign if it involves debt, because I'm not going to give the money that God gave me to manage so they can give it to a stinking bank.
Okay, there you go.
Because stinking banks are just that. They're stinking banks.
Ooh, Dave, I love when you just drive a hard line in the sand.
It's just,
It's good.
And that's why the Ramsey Family Foundation doesn't donate to ministries that run debt. Also,
I didn't know that. That's great.
That's one of the things that Denise has to look at when we're going there. Do y'all run debt? Oh, we can't give to you because you're giving God's money to a stinking bank.
Wow.
Can't stand stinking banks. This is the Ramsey Show. Hey guys, Ramsey Solutions started small and grew fast. Because of that rapid growth, there were times when our systems slowed us down. That's why we switched to NetSuite. It works for us and it'll help your business too. Whether you're starting on a card table like I did, or you're well on your way to becoming a multi-million-dollar company, NetSuite can scale with you and help you communicate and plan better. Because you know your day-to-day up and down and sideways, but accounting, analytics, and supply chain are on another level. So maybe you're just not tech savvy. That can be okay. NetSuite will help at your speed and whatever your situation. More than 37,000 companies use NetSuite to know their numbers and their business better. So check out NetSuite today and find out how they can help you become the business you want to be 5 or 30 years from now. And right now, you can download NetSuite's free KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. Thanks for joining us, America. Jay is with us in New York City. Hi, Jay. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing, Dave and Jade?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I'm calling regarding, I've read your books early on in my career, and I started following the steps, and then got married. Just did not make me and my ex-spouse did not kind of align on our same financial values, but just kind of moving forward to today. I'm 40 years old. I'm divorced, mostly due to financial reasons, just different alignment. But right now I'm in a situation of rebuilding my life back, and I started going back through all the baby steps, and I skipped step one because they already had more than $1,000, and I started focusing on step two, and then I started jumping between step 2 and step 3 because I was trying to build a 6-month sort of like emergency fund in case I lose my job. I work in tech. I'm a product designer, and the industry for the past few years has been sort of volatile, where it's like 6 months I don't have a job, and then I have a job, and that fear of not having a job, I still have to pay more.
You're in tech and you went 6 months without a job?
Yeah, it happens.
Not really.
I have friends right now. I mean kind of.
You can't find tech people, man. I got 6 jobs on the board right now trying to hire people.
It kind of depends on whatever you're trying to do. I have friends right now currently that are from Google and Microsoft that are still unemployed, and it's been 8 months. So it happens, the market's kind of flooded. But
so anyway, you're skipping between.
So you're making up your own plan. How can we help?
All right. So I'm not making up my own plan.
Yeah, you are. You're not following ours. You're doing yours. That's okay. How can we help you?
I'm just jumping between.
No, you're jumping between. So, but the concept of a baby step is you don't move to one till you get to the other one, and you start with $1,000, and anything over $1,000 that you have, you put on baby step 2, and you pay off your debts smallest to largest. That's the concept. But if you're not going to do that, it's okay. You can do whatever you want to do. How can we help you?
So I got that anxiety, and I built out the fund. And then now I've been focused on step 2 fully. I paid off my car. I paid off all my credit cards. I had no debt.
You're 100% debt free now.
Outside of my mortgage and my student loan.
Okay, so now you're on baby step 3.
So
and
not 100% out of debt because I'm still paying my student loan, which is $70,000.
I thought
that was my last full focus, right? So I was like, that's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay, Jay, how can we help you?
But I just need my consumer debt.
That is consumer debt, honey. But anyway, how can we help?
Okay. So my mom went into debt in her credit cards, and I started helping to pay her credit cards. I take care of my mom and dad. They live with me.
Because they're ill?
They are ill. My mom recently just had 4 strokes in 3 months.
Oh my goodness!
She's not well.
Okay.
And they don't have any. And they don't have any money.
They don't have any money. They only have Social Security, which is $600 per person. So I'm kind of, and then she spends money. I cut up her credit cards. She only has one that I'm aware of that I just go, okay, if there's anything you need, just as long as I can watch it.
Yeah, just cut that one up too.
I should probably.
Yeah.
What does she need?
She buys weird things on Amazon, and Amazon has that one-click buy thing, and it's just like random things show up to my house.
So she doesn't. My point is, she doesn't need anything. How old's your mom, hon?
My mom is 76, and my dad is 84.
Okay, I'm going to sit down with them tonight, and I'm going to say, Mom and Dad, I love you, and I'm here for you, and I'm going to take care of you under this condition, that you're going to assign the Social Security checks to me in return for rent, and I'm going to feed you and give you a place to live, and you're not going to use any debt at all, ever. You're not going to make a mess here, because those people aren't going to get paid. When she's borrowing money, she doesn't have the money to pay them. She's stealing because she doesn't have the money to pay them.
Gets more complicated.
Okay, how could it possibly
I started paying $1,500 a month to knock out her credit cards quickly. Did she rent
Why?
up? $20,000 worth of
Don't
debt.
pay them. Don't pay them.
Well, she went ahead and reached out to my older brother going, I feel bad causing your little brother so much burdens. Can we just consolidate this into a lower payment? And they worked out something, and he got a Citibank loan. But his agreement with my mom was that me will pay the minimum payment, which is $500.
That has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do with you. The brother got involved. Now he's created his own mess. That is between him and your mom. Here's the thing. Your parents are getting up there in age. They have zero assets whatsoever. I would take the credit card so she can not spend on it anymore. But what debt is left there when the time comes and she goes and leaves this earth, there's nothing there. That debt is not going to fall to you. Because there's nothing.
Fall to his brother, because his brother wouldn't borrow money.
Yeah, and again, that's why I said that's not your problem.
My brother's name.
Right, but that's not your problem.
It's your brother's problem.
But it causes family politics, and I just don't. And then this is another thing with politics, and then something watching your show. It's don't borrow money from family. I would have never agreed to this setup because now I have a son and I pay child support. And anytime I try to do an activity with my son,
you're not liable for that.
Why are you doing?
Good Lord, son.
You're adding yourself to the situation, and you don't have to add yourself. By the goodness of your heart, you said, Mom, Dad, you can come live with me. I agree with Dave that you take the Social Security checks, cut up the credit cards, and these are the stipulations in which you can live with me, and I'm happy to take care of you, period.
And if you want to use the Social Security money each month to send it over to your brother to pay that bill, that's fine.
That's your prerogative.
But don't let them run up any more money, honey, because every time your mother borrows money, she's stealing. Because those people are never going to get their money.
Never.
Because she's broke, and she's ill health, and she's approaching 80 years old. And when she dies, they get nothing. So when she's borrowing money and they're going to not get it back, that's stealing. Because you and I know they're never going to get their money. And I'm not going to participate in her doing that. That's wrong. It's morally wrong. And you're not liable for any of this.
Nope.
So what you need to do is get your freaking act together, including paying off this ridiculous student loan, and use your emergency fund to do that, and get yourself on a budget and set your parents' issues over to the side. You are not responsible. If you want to take them on and feed them and clothe them and house them, that's fine. You got $1,200 a month to your budget to do that, minus whatever you decide to send your brother for the stupid mess he made. But you guys have got to quit running this stuff in circles. You're taking each other down. You're all going to go to the bottom of the ocean and drown together if you keep this up. You're just creating this whirlwind. It's, this funnel, and it's just going around, and you're going right down the toilet together.
Oh, man.
Riding around going, whoopee, look at you, you're stupid. And everybody pointing across the toilet at the other one as they go down the drain.
Gravitational pull.
Yeah. And it's like, you did it. No, you did it. No, you did it. No, you did it. And it's like, geez, and I would have never agreed to that. And all this crap. Just say, no, we're not doing this. Calm everything down. And quit putting your money in the middle of this stuff.
Yeah, because he mentioned he has child support.
You got to take care of
your
that
kid.
baby, and you got to get yourself straightened out. And you're very generous to offer to take care of them, but it doesn't sound like you're really doing it out of the goodness of your heart. It sounds like you all have a ridiculously toxic family, and you got pulled into it for that reason. So you guys need to relook that whole situation, set some fresh boundaries, get some help with the relational aspects of this, and you need to really draw some lines, man. But definitely do not use your money for this. Definitely. You didn't cause the mess, and you got a big enough mess of your own. This is The Ramsey Show. If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Visit Blinds.com to get up to 45% off. That's Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Jade, when Rachel Cruz was a brand new baby, can you imagine that? Little Rachel Cruz. Her older sister was 2.5, barely walking, good. We put these wonderful little angels to bed, and their mother and I were watching a perfectly good TV show. We glanced up the top of the stairs. The toddler is standing at the top of the stairs with the brand new baby in her arms, bringing her down the stairs to us because, as you might imagine, Rachel Cruz was making noise. And Rachel Ramsey at that time. And, yeah, I did the same thing you're doing right now. For those of you looking deeply into your radio, Jade is gasping and holding her,
clutching my pearls,
clutching her pearls. That things are going. This is not going to go well, because we all know that the weak can't help the weak.
Oh, that's so good.
Adults should carry children down the stairs, not toddlers. Broke people can't fix financial problems for broke people. Y'all get the metaphor yet out there? Hello, look deeply into your podcast and get this. When you're broke and dysfunctional, taking on the rest of your broke and dysfunctional family is not going to make you less broke and dysfunctional. It's going to make you more broke and more dysfunctional. So if you're, I'm not ever... I have been broke and dysfunctional, and at the same time and separately at times. So I know what this looks like. I'm not above that. And everybody gets a different starting place. Some people get a better start out of the gate than other people.
100%.
They, Jade was saying, at the break, thank God my mind allows me to make decisions, and I can see things clearly. And not everybody gets that starting point.
That's right.
But it doesn't matter where you start. You can choose from today forward to make different decisions. Because down inside of you, you can feel it when your stomach tightens up and those muscles across the back of your shoulders tighten up, that you're getting ready to do something stupid. And then later on, when it turns out to be stupid, when you look back, I've done this, and all of you have done it. When you look back and you go, when I was doing that, I was thinking this is stupid, but I went ahead and did it anyway. How many of you can, everybody testify, amen, right? I mean, everybody, right? Everybody's done this. So the trick is to stop that pattern, because the proverb says, a wise man sees danger and stops. A fool goes forward and suffers for it. Man. So I get the right, if I come out of a background, a family, if you come out of a background or a family, or you come out of an area of the country or a socioeconomic way of thinking, whatever it is you're coming from, you have the right to put the negative parts of that in your rearview mirror. You have the right to say, I'm not going to think that way anymore. I'm going to do this other thing this way. And that may mean that some of the people around me are not going to understand when I make different decisions. Because I remember one of the famous things that you say, and it's because it grabs me around the throat every time you talk about it, is, and you talk about this in your book, that around your family they had a saying, and you had to say, okay, I'm not going to have that saying.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
We ain't got no money. That was the phrase. That was the phrase that was the reason that we couldn't go forward. And, we
ain't got no money.
We ain't got no money.
It was the answer to everything.
The answer to everything in all the various forms. I ain't got no money for that. I ain't going to do that. And it was just the constant, kind of stop, the door slamming in your face. And I think that, to your point, Dave, no matter where you come from, those things, they get inside of you and they feel like they're part of you until you rip them out. And that is painful.
And you say things like, people like us.
Yeah.
Ain't got no money.
Yeah.
People like us, that's the way they do it. I don't know what people like us are, but there is a people like you, whoever you are listening, right?
Yeah.
And you can say, okay, people that come, people that are come out of this type of the situation. This is, and it's like a buddy of mine said, he grew up in the hood, and he said, getting out of the hood is easier than getting the hood out of you.
100%. That's what I'm saying. It gets in you, and you have to do the very hard work of separating yourself from that previous identity, because I used to look and see people. And
it's not looking down on someone.
No.
It's just saying that crap don't work.
Well, it's like you said, it's a different starting point. Some people came into the world and, if you were a second generation Ramsey person, your parents taught you sense with money and taught you a sense
Rachel had a better starting line than I did.
That's right.
And I had a better starting line than my dad.
That's right.
And so on. And so that's one thing you want to give your kids is a better starting line. But it's not just math starting line. It's the ability to make decisions, the wisdom, the ability to look at something and think differently, the ability to think in abundance rather than scarcity.
Yeah. And really just to be able to take that moment, like you said, where something occurs and you take the moment to reflect on that and go, you know what? Like you said, I felt that wasn't right. Or I felt that something about that didn't feel right. And when you take the moment to reflect, then you can go, okay, next time a thought like that pops up, I can kind of grab it before it makes me go in the wrong direction again. And so, yeah.
John Maxwell uses this example. He tells the story in terms of a leadership story, but it also applies to this discussion. Years ago, before laws were the way they were now, these researchers in a psychology department put a group of chimpanzees in a room, a big pole in the middle of the room with some bananas at the top of the pole. If a chimpanzee would climb up the pole to get the bananas, they would take a water can and a fire hose and shoot him, knock him off of there. Every time a chimpanzee would try to climb the pole to get the bananas, they'd knock them off. Different ones would look around, they'd talk about it, they'd huddle, they'd make all these decisions, and finally a brave one would go up again, boom, gets knocked off, boom, gets knocked off, boom, gets knocked off. So and then pretty soon, they didn't have to shoot the water cannon. If one tried to go up, the others would pull it down.
Because they said, we know what's going to happen to you if you try.
And then they changed the chimpanzees out a little bit at a time to where after a while they had changed enough of them out that none of them in the room had the memory, the communal memory of the water cannon knocking them off the pole. They didn't know why you weren't allowed to climb, but it was just people like us don't climb. And so if someone tried to climb, the other chimpanzees would pull them down, and they didn't even know why.
Wow.
It had been ingrained into the community. And so that's how this stuff can work in such a negative way. And a family can do that. A family system that's broken can do that. They'll pull you back down.
It's embedded.
And they don't even know why.
Don't even know why. Oh, Dave, that's so good. That's so true. It's so true.
And, in the South, people will say stuff like, you're getting above your raisin. You ever heard that one?
No, that's different. I've not heard
That's different.
that.
That's different. That just means you think you're too good.
Yeah, you think you're too good.
You think you're too good. You're getting above your raisin. It has nothing to do with raisins in a box. It's like the way you were brought up, the way you were raised. And so you're getting above your raisin. And so, that means you think you're haughty or you're something else.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, and I always, and after a while when I heard somebody say something like that, I thought, yeah. Absolutely,
I'm glad
I
you feel
am.
that way.
That is absolutely the freaking goal. That's exactly what I want to do. And by the way, it's what I'd like for my kids to do. And I'd like for my grandkids to do better than that. Yeah, absolutely. Every one of you ought to get above your raising.
I know, that's right. Wow.
Everybody, because these toxic systems in a community that are based on scarcity and fear and lies and mythology, and the community could be your family, the community could be the area of the country, the type of folk you were raised with, whatever. They'll tell you to fail. And we just spent the last 7 minutes telling you, 8 minutes, that you don't have to fail. I don't know where you start from, but I do know where you're going. Not everybody's got the same starting line, but they all got the same finish line. Get after it, boys and girls. Get it. Get you some. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Jesse is in Phoenix. Hi, Jesse. How are you?
All right. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, man. So I just called in. So recently I just got out of prison. I have no debt. I have no kids. So I'm just trying to find out where I can direct my life to a better path.
Well, good for you. How long were you in prison for?
2 years.
What'd you do?
Instead of being a businessman and other things, I became a businessman in there and started selling drugs. I got caught with like a illegal enterprise, just a bunch of stuff that I should have never done in the first place.
Okay, cool. So you had an entrepreneurial spirit and used it in the wrong place.
In the wrong place, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's good news because you're right. You can use those same set of skills in a legal, not an illegal enterprise, and probably prosper. Mm-hmm. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, good for you. Cool. So are you working at all?
Right now I'm working as a tow truck driver, but this is like my first real job. So I do like it, but it's not the same money where I was making, but it gives me the courage or the ambition to chase a better career.
Good.
Right now.
Yeah. What are you making?
Right now I'm making, it's shit money. I'm sorry for the language. I'm making $30K a year.
And what's your living situation?
I had to go back with my mom. Okay. And I'm happy to God I still have her. Or else I don't know what else I would have done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How long have you been out? When did you get out?
I've been out for 6 months.
Okay. Good. So far you got a place to live, and you got some money coming in, and you have a job that's legal.
That's good.
That's a really good start. Mm-hmm. That's a good start. So then, and like you said, while you're doing this, you start to think about what's the next step. What's the next step? What's the next step? And by the way, you're probably going to be thinking that for the rest of your life. We all do. What's the next step? What's the next thing? What you got next for me, God? Where are we going from here? And so, who you running around with these days?
I have no friends.
Okay.
Other than friends, I mean it like I have zero like true friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I I just have my girlfriend. We've been together for 8 years. But
wow. I mean, you're starting fresh because you know better than to go hanging around with the folks you were hanging around before. So you're starting fresh. 100%. I listen. I love that. To Dave's point, you've got a place to live. You've got a job that's paying you something. I like the fact that you're going, okay, I'm not going to be a tow truck driver forever. What's the next step? What are you interested in?
That's the thing. I don't know. I sit down and I really think about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I really don't have family that has prospered, like, in life, like, as in, like a business, anything like that. Honestly, I'm like the first person that graduated from high school. Mm-hmm. And I have I have 2 sisters and 3 brothers. So, I mean, I'm just the only one that really did.
So you're looking
in life, but
you're looking for a mentor. You need somebody that you can look to. Yeah.
Mentor somebody.
Yeah. Tell you what, I'm gonna hook you up with a friend of mine that's a pastor there. His name's Cal, and he's a pastor of a big church there in Phoenix. And I'm gonna hook you up with him, and he's gonna get some guys around you. Because here's what I know, Jesse, and you already know this too. You become who you hang around with. And so you've got to be very selective about who you put around you, particularly at this time in your life. And so plugging you into a good church community with some good men who can show you a direction to go and some next steps. I don't think we can do everything you need to do in one radio call. You got a lot of things. You got a lot of potential. A lot of wonderful things can happen in your future, and I don't think we're going to be able to line up everything for you to do in one call.
That's right.
But we got to get. First thing was the next thing is get some community around you, and then I want you to continue to do what Jay just challenged you to do, and that's think about, all right, what is something that I see out there? What's a problem that people in Phoenix have that I can help them with their problem? Because as an entrepreneur, Jesse, I'll tell you, when you help someone with their problem, they give you money. Okay? I mean, if it's lawn care, you solve their problem. If it's pressure washing, you solve their problem. If it's fixing their car, you solve their problem. In your case right now, the company you're working for is removing cars from places they shouldn't be. You solved a problem. Or taking someone's broken car somewhere. You solved a problem. So when you solve a problem as an entrepreneur, people pay you money for that. And it's amazing what you can do to create income when you see something and you go, gosh, if I helped people with that problem, I could probably charge for that, and they would let me do that. And I want you to start thinking along those lines, because I do think, I wasn't joking around, I think your entrepreneurial spirit that got you into trouble could also, when applied right, be the biggest blessing that ever happened to you.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hook you up with Cal. I'm gonna put you on hold, and Christian's gonna pick up our phone screener, and I'll get you. He's gonna get your information, and we're gonna get you hooked up with that community. And the other thing I want you to do is I'm gonna give you a code to take Ken Coleman's assessment, his career assessment, and it's gonna be free to you because I'm gonna pay for it. Test for you to start to say, okay, these are my strengths, and that could maybe spark some ideas of some next things to do. And then patiently saying, God, thank you for this tow truck job, even though it doesn't pay much, because at least I got one. And then patiently, while being grateful for where you are, start making the steps to never be there again, and to move to a better place, and then to a better place, and then to a better place. Don't jump. Don't try to get moving too fast.
Yeah.
There's no easy money out there. It's all hard money.
I want you to get hooked up with BetterHelp too, because your life has changed greatly over the past 2.5 years, and that's a lot to work through. Your family, the way you interact with your family is different. You said you didn't have any friends. And so I think it would be good not only to get plugged in with the church, but really to be talking to somebody on a normal basis about how to navigate this.
Yeah, that's a good plan. It's a good plan. So hold on. We're going to take care of all that for you. We want to be part of this next chapter of your life that's a good chapter. And we're going to help you solve a problem. There you go. That's how this works. Hang on, Jesse. We'll take care of you. This is The Ramsey Show. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. We're so glad you're here. Today's question of the day comes from Rebecca in Wisconsin.
Yeah, she says, we paid off our home in 2021. Since then, we've struggled financially and have not been able to budget for paying our annual property taxes. Should we save up for this through the year and pay it in a lump sum? Or should we try to save a certain amount to pay it quarterly? Could we really lose our paid off home over unpaid property taxes? Yikes. Honestly, for me, this question, property taxes are the least of your concerns. You guys have got some things going on financially that this shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, whatever you want to do, if you want to pay, do a sinking fund, get into your EveryDollar budget and say, okay, what do I need to save up every single month? What do I need to set aside every single month so that when these become due at the end of the year or whatever, the money is there? You could do that using a sinking fund. If you wanted to pay them quarterly, if you have the money in your budget that you want to do it quarterly, usually you get a little bit of a discount in some cases, right? If you can pay them in a lump sum. But I read this, Dave, and I just don't think that...
I have more questions than answers.
Yeah.
How do you struggle financially when you don't have a house payment?
That means you don't have a job.
Means you're not working much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
something's got to give. You got to go create some income, kiddo.
This is a symptom, as you would say, Dave.
Yeah. You got to go create some income. And then when you do that, this property taxes, if you don't have a house payment and you're struggling financially, there's something really going on. I mean, I guess it's possible that you went on some kind of ridiculous spending spree and screwed it up, but it's most likely that this is an income problem.
Well, yeah, and the fact that she's projecting it out over the course of, a year and a quarter, for me, yeah, you could really lose your home. I mean, if you don't pay your taxes,
you have to pay the taxes.
They'll put a lien against
every state in America, they will sell your house for unpaid property taxes. Mm-hmm. Every state. So yes,
it's a real thing.
Lose it. So yes, it's very possible. But here's the thing, it's a glaring, honking horn, blaring whistle when you say I've paid off my home and I'm struggling financially. Everybody listening to this right now is going, huh? What? And so it must be income.
Gotta be.
And so we know what we got to fix. And it's not how you budget for property taxes that's your problem. Your problem is you got an income problem. And yes, then I would just set it up in your EveryDollar budget and pay it monthly. Any of us that have paid for properties, that pay our insurance on the properties, we pay our taxes on the properties, we set up a monthly withholding out of the, out of our budget, and it builds up. And then when it comes due, the money's sitting there in a sinking fund, in a savings account, a labeled area in your EveryDollar budget, and you'll have the money. It's very easy to do. And then you just pay it on time and annually, and you back into it. Same thing as Christmas, all right? They don't move Christmas. You know exactly how far it is to Christmas right now. You can look it up, the exact number of days.
Yeah.
And how much do you need for Christmas? It doesn't sneak up on you. They don't move it.
That's right.
So if you're not ready for, how can we afford Christmas? Well, you start thinking about it now.
Yeah.
And you start saying, okay, out of the income, that I'm creating, I set some aside. Walker's in Jacksonville, Florida. Hey, Walker, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Yeah, so the root of my issue is I took out a loan for $17,250 for a car that Kelley Blue Book says it's worth $6,500.
Ooh!
Why did you do that?
Well, the salesman was really convincing, obviously.
He's so convincing you paid 3 times what the car's worth?
So
that's just weird.
I mean, they kept all that under the table and didn't show me. They actually told me that was the wholesale price, and I'm like, that sounds kind of funny, but
that doesn't even make sense, though. What kind of car is this?
It's a 2018 Ford EcoSport, a compact.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
So you walked in there by yourself, and you had somehow enough sense to get to the dealership, but while there did not realize that an $18,000 car is a $6,000 car. That seems kind of weird.
So,
it's very weird. Did you do any research on this car on before you walked in? Like, this is what I want to get. This is what they cost.
I walked in with my only criteria being 4 doors.
boy.
So
Did you have a
I kept
phone
an
with
open
you?
mind. Did I have a phone with me? No.
Wow.
Now they pulled up the. They didn't have the Carfax or anything like that. So what's even worse is this car is a lemon because, like, I bought it with 68,000 on it, and it already had an engine put in it, and now it's in the shop long term for an issue that the manufacturer hasn't even, like Ford hasn't released repair instructions for the mechanics. So they, like, I'm on a long term dealership loaner right now. So my follow-up question is, obviously I want to get rid of this car because I'm going to have to throw a bunch of money in it if I keep it. So questions are, should I keep it and just hope and pray that it's reliable enough that I can pay the loan down to where I won't have too bad negative equity, because that's about, what is that, 8,000 in negative equity.
What do you make, Walker?
About 22,000 a year.
Working 40 hours.
I'm active duty military, and I really don't work that much, but 22,000 a year. So I have in the credit union, I have about 6,800.
When did you buy this car?
October.
Okay. What branch of the military are you in, son?
Navy.
Okay. I want you to go see your senior officer in your area and tell them about this car company screwing you. And I want him to go with you over to the dealership and see if he can't help you work this out. Because this company is preying on young, stupid new enlistees, and the senior officers don't take kindly to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to solicit some help from someone who knows how to talk to people who are crooks, who take advantage of his men.
Okay. So
if someone sold you a car that is worth $6,000 for $18,000 and you're 20 years old and you're newly enlisted Navy, they were screwing someone who's serving our country, and your senior officer knows that they are preying on the guys just like you, and he will help you, and he'll bring JAG involved if he needs to, or whoever else, because these guys are crooks.
Right.
And you need some help with someone that's got more life experience than you to walk in there, and really more muscle, honestly. Not sure he can do anything legally, and I'm not suggesting he would physically threaten them, although it's probably possible. But I want you to get your senior officers involved and JAG involved, and I want you to go physically over to the dealership, and I would like for them to just write canceled through all of this and take care of it, and you walk away clean. That's what my goal would be. It might be that you end up having to write a check for $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 to get away from this, but I want you to get away from it, as far away from these people as you can get, as fast as you can get, and then start fresh. And next time you get ready to make a major purchase, do your homework and have some people who are more experienced than you about that major purchase in the room with you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
You know, I'm not making fun of you, Walker. You were a innocent lamb led to the slaughter. Mm-hmm. And I'm not okay with that as a taxpayer who loves the military. It pisses me off. And so I want you to get some people in your branch there, some of your senior officers and JAG involved, and I want this stopped, because this happens, folks, if you don't know, outside military bases all over America every day. They're stupid on both sides of the road just as soon as you leave the gate, and all up and down the street. And they will screw these guys and gals, and they do. It's awful. I'm sorry, Walker. You deserve better from your fellow countrymen. This is The Ramsey Show. The best way to make the most of your money is by telling it what to do instead of wondering where it went. That's called a plan. Living intentionally with your money. The only way you win at anything is intentionally. No one accidentally wins. And you have to tell your money what to do. You need to give every dollar of your money an assignment, a name, a mission every month. That's why we called the world's best budgeting app EveryDollar. It makes it simple to plan your spending, to track expenses, to save what matters most. It's an easy-to-use app, fits into your busy life. Keep a pulse on your spending, make progress on your money goals. We'll show you how to do every bit of it, help you walk the baby steps, help you do the sinking funds we talk about. Everything's there. Download EveryDollar for free in the App Store or at Google Play today. EveryDollar. Tens of millions of people are using this. Thank you guys, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's a huge success. Are you doing another webinar soon?
Not a webinar, but I will be doing a demo of EveryDollar at our Total Money Makeover live weekend event. So
that's coming up
May 10th and 11th.
Week from this Friday and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, coming up fast. Yeah.
You know, the thing, let me just say this about EveryDollar that I like, especially for couples, is I feel like because it's on your phone, it's on your mobile device, it can be on your desktop. I feel like it bridges the gaps of communication that sometimes you have with money when it comes to your spouse, because you might forget to say, hey, I did this or that, but because it's on everybody's phone, it's kind of happening in real time. You can see, oh, they went to Publix, they spent, $15, or oh, he did pay the mortgage.
You don't even need an iPhone tracker. You'll know where they were based on their pattern of spending.
Oh, you went to the mall today? Oh, okay.
What were you doing over there?
I love EveryDollar.
So fun. Very good. Dan is with us in Cleveland, Ohio. Hi, Dan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave and Jade. So I obviously have a problem, but I want to give you some background on our financial situation that I think will be important context.
Okay.
To the problem we're having. So I'm 33. My wife is 32. Our combined household income is $375,000. We have $150 in my wife's 401k, $85 in mine, and the reason there's less in mine is because I used the COVID forbearance to pay off $82,000 in student loans. So I'm student debt free now after law school. We have about $210,000 in a money market account. We have $40,000 in a REIT. We owe $188,000 on our house, and it's appraised at $475,000. We have $20,000 in our daughter's 529. We have a 15-month-old daughter who's beautiful.
Sounds like you're doing good. Congratulations.
Thank you. But we also owe $20,000 in my wife's car.
Okay.
The issue we're facing is we're outgrowing our house. It's like an 1,800 square foot house. It's 120 years old. And we moved here because it was a young professional neighborhood. We love the neighborhood. But eventually we're going to want a bigger house for a bigger family with a yard and things we want our daughter to have. But the issue we have is, and it's a blessing in a lot of ways too, in about 18 months, I'll be up for a partnership at my law firm, and the buy-in is $250,000. And so we're kind of at this crossroads where we want to figure out, how and when do we upgrade a home? Do we hang here as long as we can? Because we want to be able to pay as much of the partnership cost up front as possible, because the options are the firm gives us a loan that we would then pay back through essentially garnishments. We pay with cash up front, or the percentage of the revenue we bring in through billing or otherwise is taken away. So we want to make sure we can pay as much of the partnership up front as we can.
How long ago? You have $210,000 in a money market. Way to go, Dan. Of the $375,000, how much is your income at the law firm?
$300,000.
And okay, so when you become a partner, if you wrote a check for $250,000 and pay them, what will your income be instead of $300,000? How much will that increase your income?
A first-year partner is typically around $450,000.
Okay, so you'd add $150,000 by writing a check for $250,000.
Correct. Yeah.
Sweet.
That's great. That happened quick.
I like it. Now, how long ago did you have zero before, and now you've added 210 to your money market?
I didn't make more than $15 an hour until I was 27.
You're 33. How long ago did you have zero, and now you have 210?
6 years ago.
So
it took you 6 years to save.
No. You didn't add the 210 in. You added it in the last 4 years or 3 years.
Yeah, and my wife came into this with savings too before we got married. She had
much?
At least 50 or 75. I think she had 75.
Okay.
So she's a great saver.
Okay, so you guys have saved $150,000 of the 210. I'm guessing in the last 24 months.
Yeah, 24 to 36 months.
That's what I'm guessing. That's where I thought you were going to tell me. Okay. All right. So this is an easy one.
Very easy. I mean, you've got...
Write a check and pay off your wife's car today.
Mm-hmm.
And get on a tight budget and make sure you have $250,000 in the money market account. You've got 40 in a REIT, so you've already got the money to do this today, and it's 18 months away. So set $250,000 aside in a money market to pay cash for the partnership, and above that, start saving for the next house.
Yeah, which is not going to take
and you got
too
18
long.
months making $375 to save to move up in house. So the year you become partner and your income goes up $150, you're going to be able to move up in house with cash and write a check for cash to buy out the partnership. What am I missing?
Yeah, it's the timing of it. Like, we went and saw a house.
There's the problem.
You want to buy a house tomorrow.
Quit looking at houses. You're broke. You got 200. Hey, man, you don't buy a house and not buy this partnership position. No way. No way. Okay. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah, the houses will be there.
No way. The $250 that money's earmarked because $250 is going to pay you $150 more in one freaking year. You're break even on this like 16 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is like gold, man. This is like printing money in your basement.
We want to make sure our daughter's
she'll be good. She's 15 months
old. Your
old.
daughter has parents that make $400K. Your daughter's going to make it.
This much space.
Seriously. She's inside, not getting rained on and being fed. She's going to be okay. How old is your daughter?
15 months.
Oh, God, she doesn't even know.
That's why I said she takes up this much room.
Yeah, she takes up. She's okay if she's got Cheerios, for God's sakes. Oh, my gosh, it's not. No. No, dude, really, you're fine.
Yeah,
don't blame this on your daughter. You and your wife went and got house fever.
Y'all already have it picked out, don't you?
It was
don't go to the freaking Parade Homes, man. It causes me every time we go to the Parade Homes. It causes me to buy a house. It's awful. No, don't go. Yeah, you just listen. Your brain quit working for a minute because you got house fever, and so we're here to help you with that.
Yeah, just delay it.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan, you have done so good. You listen. Here's the thing: you got two big things on the plate: house, law firm. Okay, partnership, right? Partnership's done with the math you gave me.
Yeah.
So you write a check today, pay off hers, move some of that REIT money or don't move it, but earmark the REIT money and 210. That's your 250 you need. You don't need it for 18 more months. It's going to sit in a high yield and make some money between now and then. That money's spent. Pretend like you don't have that money. Now, I make 375 headed towards 500. I want in 18 to 24 months. Based on that, I'm going to start saving to move up in the next 24 months into a better house. And about the time you get to become partner and your income goes up 150, you're going to be able to make the move.
Right.
But I'm not putting that partnership in jeopardy for a stinking house. Nope.
Yeah.
This is too sweet.
I also like that they'll be buying a house then based on the income that they actually have versus a projected income. You know what I mean?
Versus someday.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Wow, what a great job you've done, Dan. You guys are awesome.
Ring the bell.
You go buy this house and then don't have the money to buy the partnership when the time comes. Ooh,
that's a regret.
That'd be a bad one.
Yeah, that's a regret right there.
Right there. That'd be bad news. This is The Ramsey Show. our scripture of the day, Isaiah 32:8. Generous people plan to do what is generous, and they stand firm in their generosity. I've never read that. I know I've read that because I've read scripture, but I'll have to go back and look that one up. Maya Angelou, I've learned that you shouldn't go through life with a catcher's mitt on both hands.
That's good.
You need to be able to throw something back. Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. Chris is in Athens, Georgia. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, how are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
I've listened to you for years and love your show.
Thank you.
My question is, I'm 50 years old. I think I owe about $40,000 on the house and about 1 year on the car, and I'll be debt free. And I have the opportunity to leave my job at 50 years old with 30 years, and I have a little over $750,000 in my 401k and my pension. And I'm just scared that I can't, make it.
Okay, what do you make a year?
I make about 60, and my wife makes about 45.
Okay. And you can't touch your 401k till you're 59 and a half without penalty. Will your pension pay out because you've been there so long and retire? Will you start receiving on it?
I can take a lump sum of like $245,000 on my pension, and I've got about $483 in my 401k.
Yeah, which you can't touch until you're 59 and a half, and you said you're 50. And if you take a lump sum on the pension and you use it, you're going to pay penalty on it. So we don't want to do that. What will the pension pay out monthly if you don't take the lump sum?
Well, my financial advisor, there's a tax thing that you can use that will only put it down to 10%. So if I take he said that when I decide to leave, that the full amount of the 401k will go into IRAs, and the pension, which is a little over $740, and I'm just scared if I'm doing the wrong thing.
If it goes into IRAs and you take it out before you're 59 and a half, you're going to be penalized and taxed. There's not a tax thing that allows you to use it early. I mean, you can do some minimum withdrawals, but they're so small you won't be able to eat on them. So, let me just move on then, okay? Here's what I would do if I were in your shoes. It sounds to me like you're ready to be done with this job, like past ready. So you're only 50. You're only 50 years old. What do you want to do with your life, dude? You're not going to sit on the bank and fish.
No, I'm going to get another job. But,
okay, that's what I want to do. So what I would do is, yes, I would retire. I would roll this money to an IRA, the 401k and the lump sum pension, and let it continue to grow. Don't touch it. Don't worry about it. And then you and your wife go make a living.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have the money because between your new income and her income, you all can make a living. You're just fine. You're millionaires. You've done a great job.
Yeah. My question is, if I'm doing the right thing, because they froze our retirement.
No, listen. What do you think? I mean, what do you want to do? What are you going to do with your income? I mean, what career are you going to go into when you retire? What's your new job?
Just something making $300 or $400 a month.
Why?
You know,
you're worth a lot more than that. Why would you only do that?
My financial advisor, he told me that, you know, I can bring home more after I leave off of the earnings of my money.
No, you can't. Okay? You can't take $60,000 a year out of $750 without penalty and taxes at 50 years old. There is a minimum withdrawal process, but the numbers are very, very small that you can get out of there. I would not do that. I want you to go make $60,000 or $100,000 a year in your new career. Crap, you're only 50 years old.
Yeah.
Go make some money, dude. And leave this money alone and let it grow. And you and your wife making 40 and you making 60 or 100, y'all go have a great life, and then just let that money. Because here's what'll happen. If you leave that $750 alone instead of screwing with it and put it into good mutual funds, and let it every 10, you know, if you put it in, it averages 10%, it'll double every 7 years. So at 57, you're going to have $1.5 million. At 64, you're going to have $3 million. At 71, you're going to have $6 million if you keep your hands off of it and let it sit there and grow and double and grow and double. And the way you do that is you go have a life. You don't sit on your butt at 50 years old.
Yeah, that's
so,
a lot of time.
I would go get me a next career. We call it an encore career, Chris. You take a bow after the first act, the curtain comes up, and there's a whole new segment to the play, the encore. It's what they do, what the artist comes back out after the crowd is cheering so loud.
That's when they play what they really want to, when they really wanted to play.
Yeah, and that's when they play the songs they wanted to play. That's exactly why we call it an encore career. So you come back out and do what you've always wanted to do. I don't care if you open a business. I don't care what your new career is, but go make you some money, and you and your wife leave this money alone. Yes, I would retire. But under those circumstances, the other thing is it's not good for you at 50 years old to plan to spend the next 40 years till you're 90 doing nothing.
That is not good mentally.
It's not good. It's not good
anyway.
Spiritually. It's not good mentally. It's not good relationally. You'll get fat. It's not good for you.
Your wife will get annoyed with you. Like, go do something.
Exactly. Yeah, go figure out. And you got half your dadgum life left. What are you going to do with it? You're just middle-aged, man. Go do something big. What is it you always wanted to do? You got this other thing in your rearview mirror, made yourself a millionaire, way to go. Now leave this other money alone and go be somebody. Go be somebody. Go do something.
Dave, if you had to have an encore career, what would it be?
Me?
I'm just saying.
Well, here's the thing.
What's the other thing you would do?
You're going to be just like Rachel, because Rachel plays these games when we're at Thanksgiving. It's like, if you had a secret life, what would you do in your secret life? And I'm like, listen, you know what I do? I do what I want to do. So if I was going to do something different, I would already be doing it.
Come on, Dave. Like, I got to know.
I mean, that's what
would
I'm
you
saying.
Be a chef?
Rachel's like, yeah, that's just no fun. You're no fun at this game. And I'm like, if I wanted to be a secret agent, I would have already been a secret agent, okay? If I wanted to be a rodeo rider, I would have already been a rodeo rider. I would have already gone and done it.
Oh,
why do I have to wait until, no, go
You don't
want
to be a stunt man? Or
I jumped out of an airplane the other day.
You did.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, no, I don't want to be a stunt man. They get all broke up. It hurts. I don't like pain. But no, I mean, if I don't like this, I would have already been doing something else, and y'all wouldn't have a job.
It's a game, Dave.
I know it's no fun. It's not good for the game, but it's the truth. So the point of the whole thing, though, is you do get to choose.
That's true. You get to choose.
You get to choose. You don't have to be one of those.
That's right.
You're not stuck. Just stop doing that. Go do the other one. You know, it's like, wow, you ain't stuck. It's pretty cool. It's no fun for the game, though. I spoil all those dreamer games because I've been living the dream.
You've been living the dream, all right.
Well,
yeah.
If I wasn't me, I'd want to be me.
That's pretty freaking awesome, Dave.
Oh, that puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.